Swami Sudhindra Tirtha of Kumbakonam Mutt passed on the ownership rights of the deity of Tirumala Devar to the Gauda Saraswata Brahmin Samaj, the GSBs in short, of Kochi in the year 1597 after a Kanakabhisheka, a ritual bath with gold. The deity was later consecrated by the Swamiji in the year 1599 in a temporary shed, Purvalaya. The Swami also renamed the deity as Gosri Puresha and the village where it was consecrated as Gosripuram. With that started the special bond between the deity and the GSB Samaj. But of all the people, why did the Swamiji select the Kochi Samaj of the GSBs for handing over such a miraculously self-revealed and precious deity of Tirumala Devar might have some deep inner meaning known only to the Swamiji. Yet it would be interesting to go a little deeper into the history to have more understanding about the Gauda Saraswata Brahmins, the GSBs in short, of Kochi or other parts in India in search of answers to a few questions like who they were, where did they come from, when did they come, why did they come, how did they come, what values do they stand for, what did they do for a living, which language do they speak, etc., etc. Tracing the history of the GSB's migration from Goa to Kochi or to the other parts of South India following religious oppression by the Muslims and the Christian rulers was quite easy for two reasons. The first one was that it took place as recent as the 14th to 16th century AD. The second reason being both the oppressors themselves, Muslims and the Christians, have maintained excellent written records of the atrocities they committed on the GSBs as they believed it as a deed of great merits, waiting to be rewarded handsomely in the life after death as promised in their religious scriptures. As one can recall the migration of the GSBs out of Goa, they started in small numbers in the 14th century because of the Deccan Muslim rulers' religious persecution, finally became an exodus by the 16th century when the Christian Church unleashed the Inquisition laws on them. Thus, for the GSBs, the Gomantaka Desha, the modern state of Goa, where they were given a royal welcome by none other than the sage Parshuram in the Treta Yuga, 13,000 to 12,240 BCE, became out of bond by 1565 AD, when the Portuguese colonial rulers unleashed Inquisition laws to violently convert them into Christianity. That for the GSBs, in the course of a long history, it became the third instance they had to leave their homeland. But their leaving Goa became the first instance for the sake of protecting their dharma. It thus sadly underlined the sea change in the attitude brought in the country by religions that have its origin outside India. This was shocking, especially when viewed in the context that those very religions and its followers were welcomed with open hands, befitting the culture of the country of treating guests as God Himself. The GSBs are the descendants of Saraswata Rishi. There is an interesting story narrated in the Puranas behind it. Long ago, sage Durvasa, while on a visit to Lord Brahma, chanted Vedic mantras. Hearing him wrongly pronounce one word, Saraswati, sitting there, squirmed. Annoyed by it, Durvasa instantly cursed her for a birth on the earth. But later, as an afterthought, the sage also gave her the freedom to return back after the birth of a noble son. Thus, around 20,000 BCE, Saraswati, descending on the Himalayas in the form of a river, started flowing from the Banda Panch massif, that is Saravati Rupin Glacier, at Naitwar in western Gadwal. Descending further through Adibadri, Bhavanipur and Balshapur to the plains, the river roughly took a southwesterly course, passing through the plains of Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat, before finally discharging into Arabian Sea at the Great Rann of Kutch. In this long journey, Saraswati was believed to have three tributaries: Shatadru, that is Satluj, arising from Mount Kailas, Drishadvati from Shivalik hills, and the old Yamuna. The river banks of Saraswati, right from the Himalayas up to the plains of Punjab to Gujarat, with its moderate climate, fertile lands, pure water, were later to become the cradle to the world's most ancient and vibrant civilization, the Saraswati civilization. During the years 19,000 BCE to 6,000 BCE, though vested interest to uphold the revelation in their scriptures, especially about the Genesis part of the earth, have been making every effort to deny that truth. And as has been the practice, they have the open support of the left-oriented historians in India, who have a penchant for dislike anything connected to the history of India, traditions, religion, etc. Nevertheless, the flourishing and vibrant Saraswati civilization gave to the world and the humanity the Vedas, Vedangas, etc., the unparalleled and immortal treasure house of secular and spiritual knowledge. No wonder in the Rig Vedas one can find lot of mantras in praise of the river Saraswati. In Valmiki Ramayana also there is a specific reference to river Saraswati when Bharat, summoned by sage Vasisht, leaves uncle's palace in Kekeya kingdom, now Pakistan, Faisalabad city, and travels towards east back to Kosala, that is Ayodhya, from Kekeya kingdom, and in due course crosses many mighty rivers like Sudama, Hridini, Satadru, and hills like Mahashela, etc., and reaches the confluence of Saraswati flowing west and a branch of the Ganga. This comes in the Ayodhya Kand, Canto 71, Sloka 58. This incident is confirmed to have taken place between 12,223 BCE to 12,222 BCE on the basis of the astronomical evidence of position of planets, stars, etc., as recorded in the epic. As the things were getting unfolded on her banks, the curse of the Rishi Durvasa made Saraswati marry sage Dadichi, son of sage Chavana, and in due course the couple gave birth to a noble son who was named as Saraswat. The boy later went on to become a great rishi by undertaking penances in the Kashmirapura, the present state of Jammu and Kashmir. These events were believed to have taken place between 19,000 to 13,000 BCE. The Saraswata Brahmins and the GSBs were the descendants of that sage Saraswat, and originally the inhabitants of Kashmirapura, or the state of Jammu Kashmir as it is called now. They were considered as experts in Vedas, Vedic rituals, etc., and were much sought after for it all over the country. Thus, the Saraswata Brahmins, the descendants of Rishi Saraswat, born and brought up in India, were part and parcel of the nation and its ancient ethos. After the birth of a noble son, Saraswati was free to return back to Brahmalok. As if to facilitate that return, the nature also created an excuse in the form of a massive earthquake in Punjab during 15,000 to 12,240 BCE. Such was the impact it created divisions in the flow of the river Saraswati. While the original flow continued its southwestern direction, the new channel took a turn towards northeast and went down the Gangetic plains of UP, Bihar, etc., only to get merged with Yamuna and Ganga. In the Mahabhagavat 10th canto, 78th chapter, Sloka 18-19, while discussing Balarama's pilgrimage around the country to skip the Kurukshetra war, there is a specific reference to river Saraswati, even as continuing its westward flow, turning to east from Brahmatirth. This incident was confirmed to have taken place during 5561 BCE on the basis of the astronomical evidences of position of planets, stars, etc. mentioned in the Mahabhagavat. This major change, along with a severe and prolonged drought in the catchment areas of river Saraswati for over 12 years, was later to become the reason for severe water shortage in the downstreams. It forced a large number of inhabitants on its banks right from Kashmirapura to move on to the Gangetic belt starting from UP, Bihar, Bengal and maybe to Odisha. By 2000 BCE, Saraswati river had completely dried up from the topsoil, turning the huge tracts of land in the downstreams from Jaisalmer and Barmed in Rajasthan to Ran of Kutch in Gujarat into desert.